Hi guys, welcome back to the Distinction Factory, where we make our mark. And today we are going to be focusing on grade 10 algebraic fractions, specifically the addition and subtraction of these fractions. So down here, I've got some easy examples just to help us jog our memory on how to deal with normal addition and subtraction of fractions before we can start adding on the algebra. So whenever you're dealing with addition and subtraction, it is important that we find an LCD in order to help us to add those fractions up. And the easiest way to find an LCD of fractions, if they are not multiples of each other, is to just multiply the denominators together. So here we've got a 3, and that is being multiplied by the 4 to give us an LCD of 12. So if we're looking at the first fraction, I need my denominator to become 12. So I'll have to multiply that by 4. But whatever we do to the bottom, we have to do the same thing to the top as well. If we're looking at the second fraction, our denominator is 4, but I need to make it become 12. So I will have to multiply that by 3. And whatever we do to the bottom, we will do the same thing to the top as well. Multiplication of fractions is pretty easy because we just have to multiply the numerators together and put that over the denominators multiplied together. So 2 times by 4 gives us an 8 over, and then 3 times by 4 gives us 12. Looking at the next fraction, we've got 5 times by 3, which is 15, and that is over our LCD, which is 4 times 3, giving us 12. And just to help us understand the rest of the questions, I'm going to combine both of these fractions together because they have the same denominators. So I can write it over one denominator, and then I've got the numerators being added up. That gives me 23 over 12. Now let's add some algebra onto these fractions. Again, we're going to have to find an LCD. So here I've got an A, and here I've got a B. So multiplying them, I get AB. If we're looking at the first fraction, my denominator is missing the B. So I'll have to multiply by that at the bottom. Then I'll have to do the same thing to the top as well. If I'm looking at the second fraction, my denominator is missing the A. So I'll have to multiply it by A in order for it to become AB. And then whatever I do to the bottom, I'll do the same thing to the top as well. So basically what I've got is B being multiplied into B plus 4 all over our LCD. And now I can write it as one big denominator, similar to what I've done in the previous example. Plus A being multiplied into this entire numerator. So A into A plus 2. And then from here, we just have to get rid of our brackets. So I'll take the B and distribute it in there to give me B squared plus 4B. And then I'll take the A and distribute it into here to give me A squared plus 2A. And this is all over my LCD, which is AB. And we can keep our fraction like this because there are no like terms in order for us to add them up. So that will be our final answer. I've also pulled up a question from March 2025, question 1.33, in order to help us understand how to do the higher level algebraic fractions questions. If we are looking at these denominators, we've got an x squared minus 9 here. So it's always best to factorize first because you'll see that some of the brackets end up matching, or some of the factors rather, end up matching with the rest of the denominators. So first let's go ahead and factorize. So at the bottom, when I do dots for my factorization, I'll open out 2 brackets. I'll square root my first term to give me an x and fill that into my bracket. I'll square root the second term to give me a 3, and I'll fill that into both of my brackets. One gets a plus and one gets a minus. And then the rest of the fractions are going to stay the same because we cannot factorize those denominators or numerators. All right, now that we've factorized, which you should always do first, especially if it's in the denominators, we can start to find our LCD. So we've got an x plus 3 here, so I'll write that in. I've got an x minus 3 here, so I'll write that in. I've got another x minus 3, but that has already been accounted for, so I don't want to rewrite it. And I've got an x plus 3 here, but again, that has been accounted for. So this is going to be my LCD. So what I can do is try and figure out what each one needs to be multiplied by in the denominators, and then do the same thing to the numerators, just like what we've been doing in the previous examples. So if I'm looking at this first fraction, my LCD from here, my denominator from here is matched up with my LCD. So I don't need to make any adjustments to the first fraction. If I'm looking at the second fraction, I have an x minus 3 here, but the x plus 3 is missing. So I'll have to multiply the denominator by that, and I'll do the same thing to the top. If I'm looking at my last fraction, I've got an x plus 3, but the x minus 3 is missing. So I'll have to multiply the bottom by that, and then I will do the same thing to the top. So what I can do is write this over one big denominator of my LCD, which is x plus 3 and x minus 3. And then I can combine all of the numerators together. So I'll keep this 3 the same. Then I've got plus 2 being multiplied into that bracket, which is x plus 3. And then I've got a minus 1 that is being multiplied into x minus 3. And from here, we just need to get rid of our brackets and simplify. So this 3 is going to stay the same. And then I'll take the 2 and distribute it into my bracket. So I end up with plus 2x plus 6. And I'll distribute the negative 1 into the brackets to give me a negative x and positive 3. All over my LCD. From here, we can check for some like terms. So we've got a 3, a 6, and another 3. And we've got a 2x and a negative x. So adding up the oranges, I've got 3 plus 6, which is 9, and 9 plus 3, which ends up being 12. And then adding up the blues, I've got 2x minus x, which gives me 1x. And this will be all over my LCD, which is x plus 3, x minus 3. And we can keep our answer in that form. We don't need to get rid of the brackets in the denominator. I hope this has helped you guys out, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you.